You are listening to Vitruvian Man with Jesse and Josh.
Welcome back to the show. I am here with my prestigious, wonderful co-host Josh.
Shit.
I just said prestigious and you cussed, so that doesn't really. How you doing? How was your week?
Doing pretty good. It was all right. I'm trying to think. I mean, got fucking hot.
Yeah, hot as hell this week.
Hot. It's supposed to be. It's going to be crazy out at our house tomorrow. It's supposed to be 107 tomorrow.
That's awful.
You know, I think it's gonna. I'm figuring at our house it'll be over 110.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
110. That's not good.
That's hot.
Don't like it.
Once you get up in the triple, I can deal with the 90s, whatever.
Yeah.
But once you get up in the triple, that's where I start kind of getting
bummed out,
wound up.
Yeah, it's bad. Don't like it. Don't like it at all.
I remember back in the 80s, it would get up into the one teens in Ukiah on a regular basis, and I was riding a skateboard a lot, and it would just sink into the fucking asphalt.
Really?
Oh, it'd just be all.
So the asphalt was melting? Oh my
You'd see
God.
it's kind of slipping into the gutter,
Holy moly.
Yeah, it was bad up there.
Yuck. Don't like it. But global warming's fake, so it doesn't matter. Everything's fine.
That's right. No,
it'll be a cooling trend soon.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, everything's great.
It's
Nothing's the matter.
No, it's all
There wasn't
good.
just a bad debate where Trump told how many lies, you said?
So, okay. Shall we?
I don't know. Why not?
We'll be brief.
Okay.
So the New York Lame and the Washington Post had articles that claimed that there was between 20 and 40 lies. But this magazine newspaper on Substack, they put out a transcript of the entire debate of every monologue that he went on and broke it down into individual lies, and they broke down what they considered a lie. And it's something that was basically demonstrably false that he knew about or that he should have known about. Yeah. And, if he told one lie twice, that was two lies, just to kind of get that out of the way. But he ended up hitting around 700. It was like 600 and something lies over the course of that monologue, because it wasn't a debate.
Right.
He didn't answer one single fucking question. I mean, Biden's goddamn old, right? But
Sure.
He also wasn't feeling good, whatever. I mean, it was a bad showing, but nobody's paying attention to what a fucking sack of shit Trump is.
A lying sack of shit.
A lying sack of shit, and how he has no fucking business being up there.
No.
I think there was two op-eds, one editorial board, the Philadelphia Inquirer, came out saying, yeah, that was a bad one for Biden, but Trump should fucking drop out because he's a lying sack of shit. I might be paraphrasing there.
Right. A lovely way to put it, though.
And then, surprisingly, the other one that came out and said that was USA Today. I was kind of shocked that they did it. But the New York Times, fuck the New York Times. Fuck Washington Post. Fuck those bastards.
And the problem is, Trump is insane and lies constantly. But the thing is, if he just comes out and doesn't act like a maniac, it's like no one talks about the lies. Like you said, they just dispose of them as if they're an afterthought.
Yeah.
He just comes out and acts normal. He doesn't, gesticulate wildly and raise his voice, and he doesn't necessarily act crazy. So just everyone gives him a free pass.
I think that he did. He became increasingly fucking unhinged over the course of that.
Yeah.
And nobody talks about like that, really. They just say, oh, yeah, Trump's a bad guy.
It's time to replace Biden.
Trump, fuck you, motherfuckers. And who are they going to get?
Yeah, well, some people were saying it would be a problem. So if they replaced Biden, then it might have to be Kamala Harris, because she would be the heir apparent for the next election cycle.
She's unelectable.
Gavin Newsom?
I think he's California fucking governor. He's unelectable.
He is, you're saying?
Yeah, there's no way in hell.
He's too liberal, you mean?
Yeah, he's the governor of. There's too much dirt on him. All they got to say is French laundry over and over, and it's fucking done. Fucking dickweed. And then maybe Gretchen Whitmer.
So the one problem is, I did see an analyst once years ago talking about this, and it was I don't remember, it might have been Bush v. Gore or whatever. It doesn't matter, but what he said was, this Democratic candidate is too similar to the Republican candidate, and therefore voters do not see a difference. Therefore, it's a problem. And so the unelectable thing, right? It's too liberal or too not. It's like, of course, yes, there is an argument to be made that if a Democratic candidate is way too far to the left, right, he's just not going to please middle America, that those swing voters will not vote for him. But the flip side of that, though, is if there's little difference between the candidates in the voters' eyes, that's a problem too.
So I agree with that. But the problem that I see with Kamala Harris is that you would lose a gigantic portion of the black vote.
Oh, they don't like that she voted for the crime bill in the 80s. Is that the?
Well, she was a prosecutor, and
right.
it was her fucking job, of course, to prosecute. Sure. But she put a lot of people in prison for fucking drug offenses and stupid shit like that. I mean, that would be a real fucking issue, and that's coming. Like in the beginning, I was kind of all about Kamala, and then I was talking to my sister-in-law and her husband, and they're like, "Oh no, black folks they're not down."
I didn't know that she wasn't polling well with black folks. I didn't know that.
They are not down.
I get it.
And then Gavin come on. I mean,
that speaks to, though, how few Democratic choices there are.
Exactly.
Because that's a good-looking, handsome, charismatic guy. Name 3 other people in that phylum.
So you've got Gretchen Whitmer,
right?
Like she's a possibility. There's the guy from
AOC's probably not.
Oh,
she's
hell
probably
no.
too young to be a candidate.
Young.
Yeah,
and there's absolutely no fucking way she's getting in.
Right.
Pritzker.
Okay.
From Ohio.
Dude, literally don't even know him.
And then there's one other one that they were kind of throwing around, but there's no name recognition for 4 months. You know what I mean? For a 4-month run, trying to get them in and get that name out there, no fucking way.
The Democrats are bad at a lot of things, and one of the things they're bad at is getting new horses in the race.
Yeah, like
just getting new popular Democrats up in the public face. That's, Obama was not a super well-known Democrat before he got propped up by the Democratic Party. So
and that's, a real big part of the problem is the DNC. That should be completely restructured, and everybody should be kicked out of there. Right. Fuck Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Yeah,
she ruined 2016.
Didn't she exclude Bernie from the convention, or am I saying that right?
Basically, they did not allow him to be a serious candidate.
Yeah, and again, Bernie, different enough from Trump, might have had some support amongst actual left wing and liberals. So
absolutely, I did all these people. He would have been a horse in the race. He definitely would have. He would have had a chance.
He had a lot of supporters.
He had a lot
of ground roots supporters. Obviously, he was. Yeah, a lot of small donors making donations to his campaign. And that's true.
He had the Bernard brothers, as Biden would say.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, one other bit of business before we get to the topic, too. I don't know if you saw this, but Oklahoma is set to become the first state to offer school credit for religious and morality classes from the Satanic Temple.
Oh, shit, because they really?
The religious freedom champions, Governor Kevin Stitt and Superintendent Ryan Walters, have allowed this to happen.
They had to, didn't they?
So, if you had told me that Oklahoma's governor was going to approve a Satanic Temple after-school program, I would have been shocked.
They had to.
Why did they have to?
Because they approved Christian after-school programs. So they either had to nix it or they had to allow the Satanists in there.
All right.
Go TST, baby.
Yeah. Josh and I are card-carrying members of the TST.
Proud members.
So, yeah. Abortion rights for everybody.
Abortion for all my men.
Yes, exactly. All right, so we have kind of a different topic today.
Yeah.
We were talking about what we should do. We were talking about what we should talk about. And you thought, you know what? What about sharp-dressed man? What about clothing and gender and clothing in males and females? And first I'm like, well, you know a lot more about that than I do. But then I thought, I think this can relate to anybody. I think anybody,
absolutely,
who's interested in clothes and shops for them and would be interested in what we're talking about today.
Yeah, and growing up in the 80s and just the difference in attitudes about clothing that's popped up over the years. I think that it's things that are considered masculine have really changed in the broader sense of things. Although with the narrow idea of masculinity, you still have the dumbasses out there.
Yeah, I read a little think piece. This person I think is a bisexual. He said that he's been so bored with fashion for the last few years that now that kind of people are rethinking gendered clothing, he's kind of excited about going out shopping for the first time in years because just like kind of these very specific norms about what men and women should be wearing.
Yeah.
That they're kind of getting more flexible. He's like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just shopping for new shit that he would have never shopped for before. So
yeah, I read a few people talking about the same thing. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and it's interesting, when you look at kind of cultural clothing, set around the world, it is fairly generic. I mean,
do you mean like in the sense of the workplace or
no? I mean like if you look at like just cultural clothing from different parts of the world, for from the past,
right?
There's dudes wear pants, women
right.
wear some sort of skirt thing.
And it was like that for...
It's kind of just been that way,
yeah.
which is interesting. The only real difference that I saw, kilts, of course. That's
right.
a little wacky, but, give it to the Scotch. And then and then in hot spaces, hot places in the desert and things like that, the men tend to wear long, flowy coverage
right.
as well.
Absolutely.
Because fucking
hot. Because it's roasting, because it's 120 degrees. I did read an interesting article kind of talking about myths about men and women in buying clothes. I thought I'd run a couple of these by you.
Sure.
So there's basically, do women buy more clothing than men? That's still true.
Yeah.
Women are buying more clothing. But it's false that women are more avid adopters of online clothing shopping than men. Men are actually kind of doing more online clothing shopping than women are.
Well, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to go someplace and get it. I'll fucking buy it online.
Yeah, it's funny though, because obviously if you buy enough shirts online, you're like, one thing you can't tell from some of these manufacturers is the fabric. And it's like, sometimes you'll get these shirts in an order and it's like, this is that heavy, thick cotton. And other times you're relieved because it's that thin, nice,
sure,
breathable stuff. So
kind of depends. So like for, you personally, what, like, do you, when you dress up, what do you get down with?
I mean, so at work, you kind of wear whatever you want to work, but I'm going to wear jeans, Chuck Taylors, and a dress shirt usually. Ties aren't required or anything like that. Yeah, I can go in and wear Behemoth shirts or Black Sabbath shirts if I want to, but I'm usually going to wear a dress shirt or just a normal t-shirt.
Yeah.
Something not too offensive. But I think you actually dress up pretty good at work, don't you?
I do.
Do you wear a tie?
I don't. But I dress kind of like a old school skinhead.
Oh, right. You've got the plaid shirt.
Yeah. And in fact, I get shirts from England, and I got some pants from England. They're a little more tailored. You have to buy a bigger size because you're an American, and Americans love big sizes, or have to get a double XL for most of the stuff there. But even with that, they fit better.
Yeah.
They're more tailored.
So do you make measurements when you order those shirts?
No, I know pretty much which size to get at this point. And I go, I get them from pretty specific places. I get them from the Real Hoxton, which is old. I mean, I think they've been around since like the early 60s.
Oh, cool.
Supplying mods and skinheads and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
And then when I go out, I really like to when we're going out doing something, I like to get dressed up.
No, I think for the listening audience, we should define this too, that I think some people will associate skinheads with a Nazi party.
And
obviously, right. So, but obviously that's not a thing, right? There are Nazis who have shaved heads. Yeah. But when Josh talking about skinheads, you're talking about like punkers and skakers.
The traditional skinheads, the old ska boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. From the 60s, before they got taken over by the Nazis. They were all about unity at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
This research I was reading actually says that women are more likely to shop around and compare prices. I would say personally that's not true. I spend a lot of time, whether it's I'm looking for a pendant on eBay or a shirt or some pants or something. I spend a lot of time kind of finding exactly what I want, and very particular about price too. So I don't know about you, but I spend plenty of time on that. So I'm not sure there's women who are spending more time than I am, just kind of tweaking out on what I really want. So
I am very particular about what I want. And unless it's crazy expensive, I don't care. It has to be I All right, so I was looking like this fucking crazy hooligan wear. Like, I think it's called, it's a Scottish brand, and all the fucking soccer hooligans wear them. I can't remember the name of it. But
there's a genre of clothing called hooligan wear. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, it's kind of...
So it's soccer jerseys, or what are we talking about?
These are like jackets and things like that.
Uh-huh.
And there's a little bit of crossover between kind of like the old school skinheads and the hooligan wear. A little bit,
Sure.
But the jackets, I think it's Stone Island is the name of it. And I was looking at it, I'm like, maybe I'll get a Stone Island jacket because, I'm an idiot.
You're worth it.
I'm a dumbass. And then I was looking at the prices. I'm like, oh, fuck that. It was like $700 for a jacket.
Oh boy.
So that, that's a little bit
That's
much.
a casual jacket or a work jacket?
Casual. Well, it's not a blazer.
Right.
So yeah, it's casual. So
and it was too pricey for you.
That was pushing it. Yeah, there's definitely some prices, and I won't if I'm going to get a suit, I'll go get it. I think I told you, I'll fly to Thailand and have fucking tailored.
You said you bought suits at Thailand, and how much were they?
I bought
400.
So it was 2 suits.
Yeah,
it was 2 suits, 5 shirts, and 7 ties for $400, and they're tailored. And
not a piece.
No, for the whole fucking thing.
That's insane.
It was insane, and
And you thought that was about $3,000 worth of clothing or $4,000 worth of clothing, or
that would be like $4,000.
Wow,
at least, and probably more now, because I was looking at the material. I made sure it was the material I wanted. I mean, like they don't like they had nice wool. They had heavy wool, light wool, like the whole thing. And they have Indian tailors, like that's their thing. All the Indian tailors head over to Thailand.
Oh, really?
For some reason, I have no idea.
Well, it's funny because people do travel overseas for surgery because it's cheaper.
Oh yeah,
but apparently we should be traveling overseas for suits too.
For suits too, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, buy a ticket to Thailand and get some free suits.
This is a little bit tied to what you were saying, because you were saying you like to dress like a skinhead. Actually, casual clothing is now really driving fashion. So Reuters reports that streetwear and the general shift to more casual clothing are now driving sales of men's clothing, including the luxury arena. So it's more than a buzz, said the CEO of this luxury group, LVMH.
Oh, yeah.
There's a strong demand across men's fashion industry in all of its shapes and forms, which comes in part from a younger clientele. We see it very clearly in all the sales. The general sentiment was they needed to buy more from the men's collections they'd originally planned. So it's partially from hip hop, right? Hip hop culture has very much influenced fashion. And as it's influenced fashion, you're going to see more and more kind of uber wealthy people wearing what might appear to be more casual clothes, but are obviously very expensive, tailored clothing still.
And you can tell.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell when something's expensive. I remember this whole thing about Succession, and the guy was wearing a baseball hat, and it didn't have anything on it. There was a telltale to it. I can't remember what it was. And I can't
There's
remember
some
the
mark
brand.
on it that you could tell what it was.
It's like a $600 baseball hat.
Did you look it up?
I read this whole article about it. It was like, and it like blew up. People were like, "Oh fuck, that's a hat." But apparently, it's like a rich person's fucking hat.
Yeah, you watching that show, you know, like the person who does the set design and the costumes really
they know what's up.
Is spending a lot of time researching the super fancy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's the thing about now is that there's so much hate for the rich that they don't have really obvious markers to let the poor folks know, but the rich people know. The rich people know what you're wearing.
Absolutely. I didn't. It's funny. This never occurred to me. You know, that when they have a film, you know, meant to be in 2023, they still have a costume designer, and someone might say, "Well, what does that mean? You're just buying clothes off the rack?" Absolutely not.
No way.
It never occurred to me that all this clothing is fitted. I mean, that actually makes a lot of sense because clothes really do hang well on the actors that are wearing them. But it's not just because they're svelte and good looking. It's because they're actually tailored. They'll take a T-shirt and they'll tailor it.
Yeah.
It didn't occur to me. I'm like, oh, I just assumed they were buying it off the rack and putting it on, but no, everything's basically tailored.
Yeah, for that show specifically, or just
In general, though, in modern films and movies, if they got a big enough budget, they're not just wearing something off a rack.
And I've heard that, you know, I mean, when you buy a T-shirt, it's such a crapshoot as to how it's going to fit. You know, there is no consistency across brands or anything like that.
No.
So it's like, I get the idea of tailoring a T-shirt, if it's going to be something that you wear out for things. I totally get that. Plus, I mean, you know, makes you look a little less pudgy if they tailor it right.
Hey, if I could trim a couple inches off
that's what I'm talking
tailoring,
about.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So as you went through researching for this, did you find some gems, anything like interesting or
Well, I just think about like the difference between like men's and women's clothing and what they're meant to represent and express outwardly.
For example, like gender roles and how the clothing conveys that and stuff.
Yeah, and I guess like the modern fashion industry really came into play in the 20s when
that's when it started to get huge.
When they really started to pitch things to the women, and create a fashion industry that would require money to stay up on.
Right.
And instead of just like the rich people being able to afford these amazing fucking clothes and the poor people sewing bags together, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then you get the big middle class, which comes out of the starts really in like, well,
late 40s, early 50s, maybe.
Probably moving into the 30s and 40s.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because, you know, the economy starts coming back in the 30s and 40s.
Sure.
Then really starts blowing up in the 40s and 50s. Really starts blowing up in the 40s and 50s. And
obviously, television must have helped.
Movies.
Selling of clothes. Oh yeah, movies. Right.
Oh yeah, getting it out there. All those brands making names for themselves, being in the movies. I mean, fuck, Hitchcock was probably a huge contributor to fashion.
So I know that like the product placement's a thing now, but are you saying back then it was just known that he wore like an Armani suit, or how did he help popularize fashion then?
Well, the women that he had on there were very glamorous,
right?
And they wore very nice clothes. Like I'm trying to think of Princess Grace. Was it Grace?
Grace Kelly?
Yeah, Grace Kelly. She was a model. She was on French haute couture. You know, I mean, she brought it out there, and it was in his movies. That form of dress was in his movies because he mostly made movies about wealthy people.
Right.
So that I think had a really big impact on women's clothing and women's fashion.
Interesting. I didn't know that. One thing I noticed was, did you know Billie Eilish? Have you followed her at all?
Yeah.
So I was reading about her, and she's had a rough time because, you know, she has received plenty of criticism for wearing baggy clothes, and you know, no matter what women do, it's wrong, right?
Exactly.
So,
and I know, like it's so obvious why she's wearing baggy clothes.
Well, you know, I remember Sinead O'Connor was told basically by a record executive, you'd be cute if you grew your hair out.
Right.
And that's why she shaved her head. And I think Billie Eilish is saying fuck you to the people that expect a woman to wear certain kinds of clothing.
I think it's much more personal than that. I think that she's stacked and she doesn't want to be sexualized.
Do you mean she has a big chest?
Yes.
And so it's easier for her to deflate that. Or to
if she wears baggy clothes, she can't be sexualized.
Right.
And I think that is so fucking reasonable. Like,
right.
Like when I heard people complaining about that, I'm like, so why the fuck do you care?
Well, first of all, why do you care? Second of all, can we just never comment on a woman's appearance? I don't know what relevance does it ever have
on anything. She fucking kills it.
You know, is she attractive? Who cares? Leave that to yourself.
Yeah.
It is again like a burp. Right? Leave that utterance to yourself. And apparently, you know, she actually got dressed up for British Vogue, if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
She wore a really tight-fitting corset. And of course, she got shit for that too. Yeah. Like, you know, she wore it to kind of like, as like a, you know, basically not an unsubtle hint, you know, that this is what a woman is expected to look like. You know?
See, I figured that she just wanted to dress up.
Right.
And she had the opportunity because she's well known, she's rich as fuck, and she's on the fucking cover of Vogue.
Right. Well, she was saying that she'd spent so long being criticized for her style and being told she'd be hotter if she dressed more feminine.
It's so fucking dumb, dude.
Yeah, it's insane.
And she's a little girl. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
just leave her
not
alone.
a little girl, but like,
leave her alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
one of those assholes having to fucking, the 18 countdown for her.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
what pieces
revolting.
of shit. Fuck
It's
you,
so
man.
revolting.
Fucking pedos.
Yeah, I don't know how to get anyone participates in a conversation
Yeah.
like that. And the flip side of that is you'll see like clickbait articles about like, you won't believe what this actress looks like now. You mean now that she's 75? Oh my God, she doesn't look like she's 21 anymore.
Those fucking clickbait articles. Oh my
Fuck.
God, they're so bad.
Can't you just leave people alone?
Do you remember the little girl from fucking Little House on the Prairie? You won't believe what she
She's
looks
ugly
like
now. Yeah, it's like, oh my God. Just can't she live in peace? I mean,
and there's not one of those about men, right? I mean, they don't fucking say shit about dudes. Come out in fucking shitty, torn up fucking tennis shoes,
right?
Goddamn cargo shorts, and a fucking stained T-shirt. Nobody says a goddamn thing. Russell Crowe comes out looking like he's the Australian bogan that he is, and nobody says a motherfucking thing.
Nope, because he's a man.
This is so fucking crazy.
Women, no matter what they're going to wear, they're going to be criticized and they're going to be slammed, and it's rough. So,
and especially like you look at clothing, the overall, like at least in the past, and I do think that this is changing. I think that with the gays and the bi, the trans, like a lot of this stuff is going away, except for in pockets of dumbasses. But traditionally, women's clothing fashion was made to advertise their availability, right? I mean, lipstick,
signal or absolutely.
Lipstick, blush. Yeah. I mean, that's all sexual arousement paint.
Sure.
High heels change your posture so that your ass is sticking out and your boobs are kind of pushed forward. Also, it highlights your legs, which, I mean, and then, the draping of the cloth is generally made to either not conceal it. It's either to highlight it or to conceal it in a way that highlights it, which, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And then, cleavage. Men's wear is utilitarian for the most part.
Sure.
Even if you get up into the upper echelons back in the old days, it was purely a status advertisement. It wasn't made to highlight your dong or anything like that, but it was definitely like highlighting status. So it was.
This pushes forward the front part of the male.
You have like the earth shoes that rocks your dong forward or something. I don't know, but like you look at it, and it was basically men's clothing was there to advertise status. Women's clothing was there to advertise sexual availability, and it was all about mating.
Absolutely.
Breaking it down kind of generically. And now, so much different. And I appreciate it so much more. I mean, who was it? Billy Porter came out in the dress.
I think so.
Was that for the gala, Met Gala, maybe?
Something like
that. And got to remember 1980. I was watching TV in Australia. They had music videos on regularly there. And a Midnight Oil came on. This is before he kind of got like normie. And he had like shaved head, shaved eyebrows, and this long black dress.
Cool.
And I'm like 11 years old. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on right now.
I think it's actually been a thing with punk rockers too for years.
Yeah.
Right. That you'll just see a guitar player wearing a dress. There's not even an explanation for it.
No, they're just out there fucking.
I think the punk scene has been actually progressive, hasn't it been over the years?
Some parts of it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's assholes, but I mean,
I think the West Coast punk scene's a lot more progressive as far as it goes. It was always more political.
I saw Joan Jett's denim like jacket the other day and the pins, and like they were super all like abortion rights and super progressive things that we would totally like side with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Joan Jett's her own thing.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
I heard actually, this is somewhat related to clothing. I heard a cool story I thought I would share with you real quick. a lady at work told me that she knows plenty of young people in the Hispanic community that feel so comfortable dressing however they want at our campus that they won't do it ever at home. But they feel so safe kind of wearing whatever clothing they want and identifying however they want to on campus because it's a safe spot. They only dress that way at school, basically.
That's
which is
dope.
kind of cool. I mean, that means
Yeah.
the school feels safe to them.
Yeah, it's a safe place. I mean, it obviously Hispanic households, especially first generation, second generation, they're very conservative.
Yeah, so they
And-
can be religious and Catholic and conservative,
Yeah.
and obviously these kids don't feel comfortable wearing clothes like that at home.
and that's a bummer.
Of course.
But the fact that they feel that safe at the JC is
Yeah,
really dope.
that's pretty great.
Yeah,
that
that's-
made me
that's
feel
really
good.
cool.
So, yeah, dress how you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made me feel good that they feel safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
So, obviously, so tell me some more about your notes. Did you come across some other cool gems or some cool stories?
No, I mean, that's just kind of that's basically what I have, just, and anecdotes about what I've seen kind of moving forward in a way that I guess dressing is becoming more androgynous or less less pigeonholed.
Yeah, I think workplaces across the U.S. are definitely. I mean, obviously, there are very conservative workplaces, right? But
workplaces kind of lag behind everything.
of
else
course,
too.
no,
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
But if you walk through a campus at Google, or that it's going to be different than walking through a law office in Ohio.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there are going to be some very progressive workplaces that you can kind of wear wherever you want.
Do whatever you want.
But
yeah.
obviously, yeah, there are, major corporations that are very conservative, and they're still going to be, ascribing to those gender normie
Yeah.
ways to dress.
I remember there was it was a school, and some kid, it was fucking hot. Some kid wanted to wear shorts, and they said he couldn't wear shorts. He's like, well, they get to wear skirts. I'll just wear a skirt.
Wow.
And so over the course of like the next couple weeks, all the boys started wearing skirts because
Nice.
fuck it, it's hot.
Yeah.
And they changed the rules, and then they made them wear shorts. But the fact that they utilized that was
That's great.
was awesome.
Good for them.
Good for them. They figured that out.
So they stopped allowing boys to wear skirts and made them wear shorts.
I think they just kind of gave up, and they went back to wearing shorts if they wanted to. Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, that's like the kid, a teenager came up with a flying spaghetti monster.
was
Did
he
you
a
know about
teenager
that?
when he did that?
Yeah, so I guess there's this kid in New Orleans, and there's
Yeah.
all these religious requirements, in a public school, and he's like, well, if you've got the freedom to worship your religion, then I want the freedom to worship mine.
Yeah, love that guy.
Yeah, you gotta love youngsters innovating ways to fuck with the system.
I always wanted to start the branch of the flying spaghetti monster that was the flying. It was the Church of the Immaculate Disco,
Right.
and the catchline would have been, "Who extruded the unextrudable?"
That's great. I did hear one interesting thing about clothing and capitalism I thought you'd like. So it was regarding essentially conformity, right? There in every society, you're going to have your conformists, and then you're going to have your nonconformists. I went and saw a punk rock show Thursday. I would think most of those people would call themselves nonconformists
Sure.
in that audience.
Did they have a uniform?
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
With nonconformity comes another uniform.
Yeah.
And
It's a
capitalism doesn't
signifier,
care about if you're a conformist or a nonconformist,
As long as you buy it.
because there's always an avenue to sell you more merchandise depending on who you identify with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's there. It becomes a uniform of its own.
it's funny though, because I don't know if you've ever experienced this sensation. I at 57, not really in a position where I'm going to let people fuck with me anymore. So sometimes I'll wear a shirt that's ugly and scary. And it's funny because it is kind of an armor to wear an ugly, scary shirt if you're mostly a nice person. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because you're kind of saying, back off, fuck you. But if you're acting friendly and pleasant, people get it. It's kind of a conflict.
Yeah.
But there are times where you go to a certain show and you don't mind wearing this ugly, scary shirt. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it totally does. No, I like going to. Okay, so I remember going to Bauhaus and wearing the most colorful fucking shirt I could find.
Yeah.
Because I knew that everybody there was going to be wearing black.
And so you literally you're the only one there wearing
just ridiculously colorful shirt. Yeah.
A friend of mine, we went to LA once. It's a stupid thing, but we went for one day to a taping of a show at VH1 called That Metal Show. And it was a show we liked. It was fun. Yeah, they would have lamos like Poison on there, but they would have really good people from Pantera and all kinds of good bands. And we liked the show. We're like, hey, we got free tickets. Do you want to go? I'm like, sure, let's go. And so they have a small audience. And of course, they're all wearing, black metal shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Black, metal shirts. Yeah. There's an old joke that Living Colour is a black metal band.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I said to my friend that I half thought about, under my Pantera shirt, wearing a pink shirt that says Duran Duran. And he goes, dude, they would throw you out for that. And no, he's right. They would have thrown me out of the studio audience.
No, for that you need to wear a uniform.
Yeah, you got to wear the uniform. Yeah. So I wish there's probably no picture of you wearing that colorful clothes and at the Bauhaus show.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I go to that Tones on Tail show, I should, or some kind of gothic thing, I should definitely wear a rainbow outfit.
I think it's kind of changed. I think that
definitely.
It's changed a bit, but there was definitely back in the 80s, 90s when I saw him, I think it was 90, 98 or something like that. And it was full on monochrome.
Was it?
It was ridiculous.
That's great.
I think they got mad at me.
They people in the audience were giving you the hairy eyeball?
Yeah. Or? I was also I was buying like a sheep as we were all walking out because it was just this, I don't know. It was all just this river of black clothes walking out.
Yeah.
I was being an asshole.
So you're a little too sarcastic.
I was being an asshole, and that's okay. Did you run out of notes? Are you all set? I think we hit it. I mean, do you have any
No, I was interested. I'm glad I did this. I learned some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think genderless clothes are more of a thing now. And I think obviously fashionistas are really going to have to take note of we can really rethink what we consider gender norms in these clothings that we're making. So
yeah, I mean, I think they're making makeup for men. They're making fingernail polish colors for men. I think that everybody's kind of getting over the whole gendered clothing thing, which is cool. Yeah, I mean, the guy our across the street neighbor, he's I don't know, probably 65 or something like that, and he'll have flip flops on and shiny blue toenails.
Nice.
People just go out and do that now.
Go do you, man. Yeah, whatever.
And I mean, he's like a straight normie. But.
Just likes to paint his toenails.
He likes to get a pedicure.
I get it, bro.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think that it really makes for a more colorful and interesting world.
In other news, we have an asshole of the week.
I was wondering if you had one.
I have one.
Asshole of the week.
This is the flip side of the Oklahoma Satanic Temple thing. This is a superintendent. The schools announces that all schools must incorporate the Bible and the Ten Commandments in their curriculums.
What state is this?
This is Oklahoma.
So this is Oklahoma as well.
Yeah. So I guess this is I didn't even occur to me when I was putting this together. You're saying basically the Satanic Temple decision was made because of this decision, that they're all the same thing, basically?
So I think that the Satanic Temple decision was made in response to a different bad decision that Oklahoma made. And this is a new one.
Oh, okay, got it.
This is a new bad decision.
So listen to this. He says, it's crystal clear to us that in the Oklahoma academic standards under Title 70, the Bible is necessary historical document to teach our kids about the history of this country. Do you mean the history of the Middle East? Because what does the Bible have to do with the history of this country? So
assholes.
This is the best part. To have a complete understanding of Western civilization to have an understanding of the basis of our legal system.
What?
Oh, do you mean the separation of church and fucking state?
Dude, what
What
these
legal
people
system
talking
are you
about?
talking about? The legal system that guarantees religious freedom?
No, they're talking about the religion.
They're talking about the Christian legal system.
The legal system that allows you to stone women for fucking
Yes.
infidelity.
Yeah.
What a
So-
fucking
An understanding of our legal system.
Well, Louisiana should be fucking co-asshole of the week too because of their fucking 10 Commandment bullshit. It's the same thing. That came out the same fucking week.
Yeah.
I can't where the fuck. Oh,
It's so fucked up.
God
And
damn it.
I have this like kind of fantasy about printing posters and covering up all the 10 Commandments with posters on how to apprehend a armed suspect at a school, right? Because they're so common now. You're probably, you know what I mean? Like
it's much more useful.
I just love the, like, when you think of the plagues that are being visited upon this earth, the thought that the 10 Commandments is going to give us any relief from that.
I mean, and if you look at the first five of the 10 Commandments are all about how you need to worship the God.
10 Commandments don't mention rape and slavery.
No, fuck no.
So,
but the first
You better not make a graven image of me, but rape and slavery, fucking awesome.
The first five, at least
Yeah.
in the one that they're posting
Right.
in Louisiana, because there's different versions, but
Right.
they're all about him, the narcissistic God.
Yes, of course.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It's insanity.
What are we going to do, Jesse?
The good news.
All right,
is
fine.
I have some quotations. So I was reading some Mencken today. Do you like? I might picture you liking H.L. Mencken.
I haven't read that for years and years.
So he's a satirist and an essayist. And,
Yeah.
He's the one who coined the term Scopes monkey trial. So he was known for his coverage of that trial, but obviously, I whittled it down to 3 quotes because you all should read Mencken. You will nod your head the entire time. The guy, it's just everything he says sounds like it was written yesterday. For example, as democracy is perfected, the office of the president represents more and more closely the inner soul of the people. On some great and glorious day, the plain folks of the land will reach to their heart's desire at last, and the White House will be adorned by a downright moron. It already has, Donald J. Trump, right?
Old Don John.
Right. Here's another one. The notion that a radical is one that hates his country is naive and usually idiotic. He is more likely one who likes this country more than the rest of us, and is thus more disturbed than the rest of us when he sees it debauched. He is not a bad citizen turning to crime. He is a good citizen driven to despair. So all those people, America, love it or leave it. No, I love this. I want to love this country, and the way to love it is to improve it, to make it great for everybody,
Well, I mean, and you have these fucking cult leaders like Trump, like driving this idea that this is a shit. Like one of the things in that debate was him talking about how horrible this country is, and it's like, what the fuck are you? What are you talking about?
Well, it was
Where do
great
you
when he was
live?
president, and now it's horrible.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Right, because that's what he was saying.
yeah,
right?
right. But his. I want to kill him. I mean,
Careful. Just your listening, government. We don't advocate killing Trump. He's just a piece of shit, and we hate him. So
he's God, yeah. So yes, yeah. He's. But listening to him talk about how awful the country is, where the fuck does he live?
yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's a fucking he's got a couple $1 million anyway.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's running out.
Yeah, he's having a rough time. I have one more. This will close it out just because this represents some religious talks that we had today. We must respect the other fellow's religion, but only to the extent that we respect his theory that his wife and is beautiful and his children are smart. So respect the religion just the way that we say that his wife is beautiful and children are smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So let's respect those other religions. As long as I don't have to hear about it. Just don't talk to me about it.
Tell me about it.
Believe whatever nonsense you want to believe.
Yeah.
All right, bro. We just solved the problem again. We did it.
We
solved clothing. I didn't know clothing was a problem, but we solved it.
Whatever it is, it's fixed.
See you next week.
Rock on.
Have a good one.
You too. You have been listening to The Trivial Man. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can either call us at 415-484-8841 or send us an email at thetriviumpod@gmail.com.